by James Norton, Republican strategist and former senior official at the Department of Homeland Security. Welcome to you. What do we know as fact up until this point?
Well, I think we should take stock, in terms of where we are with this quote-unquote Russia investigation. You know, at this point in D.C., we've got the House Intelligence Committee, the Senate Intelligence Committee, the, House Oversight and Government Reform, and, up until just last week, now we have a special counsel led by a former FBI director, Robert Mueller, looking into all of these issues that may or may not have occurred during the Trump campaign and transition. And so, there's certainly a lot of eyes on this. I think that obviously, every day it seems like there's some sort of leak or new piece of information that we need to, kind of digest. So, I think we need to take some of this information, step by step and understand that there are a lot of people looking at this, and not to jump to any conclusions at this point, because we really don't know all the facts, and we just don't know what the motivations were as well on some of these issues. The Trump organization is one that was a global corporate organization where, it's not unusual for somebody in that company to work with, foreign investors or other countries in terms of their real estate and dealings and things like that. So I don't think it's an unusual thing for them to have foreign contacts. Obviously, this story from the Post is something that's, worth looking into, but I would caution everybody not to jump to too many conclusions.
Do you think, whatever is found, do you think that perhaps one of the reasons that the Trump administration is in this situation is because of their lack of political nous, really, their inexperience and naivety in the world of politics? A lot of his inner circle are not really schooled in that area.
I think that the Trump campaign, I think most would agree on many sides of the aisle that it was a very unorthodox campaign. It broke a lot of the traditional campaign rules, and most of the high command, if you will, of the Trump campaign transition are people that aren't traditionally, experienced in politics and experienced in government. Now, you could say, well, that's one of the reasons they were elected, but, I think at the same time, you're seeing some of the mistakes that are being made by those that maybe aren't veterans of past administrations or have the, kind of the do's and don'ts of how to operate in Washington. So, if there were conversations with foreign officials, there is a process for that and how it's supposed to work through. And, maybe there were mistakes that were made, but I think you're absolutely right. That's probably one of the reasons that we're seeing so many errors here in the early days of the administration.
So possibly we can put it down to political naivety. Nonetheless, we're hearing from congressmen like Ted Lieu. This is the Californian Democrat. He says if this is true, that Jared Kushner should also be prosecuted for lying on his security clearance form. He says that that's a federal crime.
Well, the SF-86 is what it's referred to here in D.C. is a very deep form that it's almost 100 pages long. There's requests for all sorts of information. I think that everybody has the opportunity to kind of put as much information on there as they can. I think, Ted Lieu, who, served in the military and, has had an interesting rise here in his early career in Congress, raises some interesting points. But again, I think this idea that, in today's world, we've gone from 24 hours to 24 seconds to almost 12 seconds in terms of, assuming information and then going right to prosecution. I think, again, we need to be cautious and take it step by step. And that's not just for Republicans or Democrats, but I think it's for all involved here in Washington and broader. And so, if there were mistakes made or if it was intentional, I think we'll get to the bottom of that. There's enough eyes looking at this with multiple investigations on. But, I think we need to take cautious steps. And it wasn't that long ago that Democrats were, on the other foot defending Hillary Clinton. The Republicans were calling for, prosecution of Hillary Clinton, every step of the way. And that might have been, just as egregious, for them to call on those type of things. So, I think we just need to take this day by day.
Okay, well, the investigations will run their course indeed. James Norton, Republican strategist. Thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.